Hello, welcome back, and thank you to our 8 subscribers. This channel is growing by leaps and bounds. This is the last of my old off-roading videos, so it might be the last of my post-recording voiceovers, if you're lucky. In today's video, we are on the Superstition Backroads, which is an approximate 25-mile loop trail east of Phoenix near Apache Junction. I want to give a shout out to Bomb Brew Coffee House in Gold Canyon. We stopped in there on our way out to the trail and had some coffee and pastries, and they were fantastic. The owner is a former Air Force EOD, and the employees were awesome. We're not sponsored by them, but we had a great experience on this trip, and now we just stop in there every time we go through Gold Canyon. I'll drop a link in the notes, but if you're in the area, please show them some love. The Superstition Backroads are considered moderately difficult on Onyx off-roads, but we found the trail to be fairly easygoing. The views, however, of the Superstition Mountains are stunning and alone are well worth the drive. There are multiple fun side trails along this route that will take you up closer to the mountains for some great hiking opportunities and fantastic views. The entrance to this trail is off Peralta Road and is behind a small ditch and berm that was put in place to prevent RVs and regular cars from going off-roading in this area. It is essentially the gatekeeper for this trail. If you can make it past that, you won't have any problem with 99% of this trail. Ahead you see the Superstition Mountains, home of the famous Lost Dutchman's Mine. The mine is named after Jacob Waltz, a German immigrant and miner who worked this area in the late 1800s. Waltz died of pneumonia in 1891 after his farm was struck by a flash flood. He allegedly told the woman who nursed him during that time of the location of his mine. She and several associates attempted to locate the mine starting in 1892, but when that didn't pan out, she started selling maps to the mine for $7 a pop, which was probably a much easier moneymaker. That probably would have been the end of the story of the Lost Dutchman's Mine if not for Adolf Ruth, an amateur explorer and treasure hunter. He attempted to locate the mine in the summer of 1931 and disappeared in the process. About 6 months later, a skull was found in the mountains with 2 bullet holes in it. The skull was positively identified as Ruth using dental records. A short time later, several human bones were discovered along with the personal effects of Mr. Ruth. The map he had acquired to the mine was missing, but in his checkbook he had written that he had located the mine and gave detailed directions. The authorities ruled it as a suicide due to severe hydration, even though no rounds were missing from his sidearm. The Ruth family didn't believe the story, and it made national news at the time. Over the decades since then, many people have died or disappeared in the Superstition Mountains while looking for the Lost Dutchman's Mine, often in unbelievable ways, the last person being Cayman Welch in 2020. I didn't mean for this to turn into a history lesson of the Superstition Mountains, but maybe I'll do that in the future if there's some interest. Here's one of the side trails that takes you closer to the mountains, and I think that is Mushroom Head in the clump of rocks, but it's hard to see and I'm not completely sure. There are 2 different parts of this trail. The west side is the shorter and, I think, more beautiful part of it. The east side is longer, a little rockier, and just not as scenic. It is divided in half by Peralta Road, which is a well-maintained 2-lane dirt road, and if you only want to do one part or the other of the trail. The whole thing took us a little over 4 hours to complete. My wife asked me to stop and get out and take some pictures of the flowers on the side of the road, so of course I did. I haven't been able to find those pictures, so here are pictures of a hawk on a cactus and a snake alongside the trail that we took the same day. Here we are coming up on Peralta Road. As you can see, it's fairly busy, so be careful when entering or leaving the trail. You can also see here the trench and berm that I mentioned earlier to keep RVs off the trail. And here we exit Peralta Road back onto the trail, this time the east side of it. As I said before, the east side does not have the backdrop of the Superstition Mountains, so it was not as scenic in my opinion. You now see us back on another dirt road because we wanted to head up to a gypsum mine located off the main trail. We'd never seen a gypsum mine before, so we wanted to drive out there and check it out. It isn't an attractive mine, so we drove around a little while checking it out. Went over some of the mounds that are still out there, and probably every off-road vehicle that has ever gone out there goes over these mounds. And then we were on our way again. While that wasn't the end of the trail, it was the last interesting thing we saw on the trail. So here we are back on Peralta Road heading for US 60. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on our next adventure.